Welcome back. At the old house, it was far too noisy in the backyard for me to do a video. So here I am, new house, all that fun stuff. And the rabbit hutch is right in the backyard there as well. So, I want to talk about my journey today a little bit, because I get questions a lot about it, so I figure why not, and why not do that outside. So, when I started out as a kid, I always enjoyed watching sports. I always enjoyed playing them. I wasn't the most gifted. There was never a time where somebody looked and said, yeah, that Shannon kid, really, really gifted at this sport. Really, really quite good. I see a great future for him. But the effort was there. So that's why with hockey players, I pay attention to the effort more than the skill even. And the guys who put in the effort that may not have the skill, I may be a bigger fan of. So soccer was my sport of choice in the beginning. Yep. And I played it. I played it a lot. I played it in my backyard a lot. And I played by myself a lot. Now, only child and all that, so you kind of have to get creative when you're an only child. Eventually, I discovered street hockey puck and discovered street hockey. And there's been meetups this summer. And when I have those meetups, it kind of takes me back to when I used to play as a kid and what I enjoyed about it. What I enjoyed about it was we didn't have a net. We didn't have like an NHL-sized net or anything. We did have the kids' street nets and all that stuff, but we would play for hours. I mean, didn't matter if it was raining either. It's just you played in the rain. It's snowing, perfect for street hockey. It's a little icy. Well, all right. Well, just be careful. Now, it doesn't get cold enough here to have an outdoor rink, which is one drawback when it comes to skating and playing ice hockey. We don't get the prolonged cold snaps that a lot of Canada gets, and parts of the States gets as well. We just don't have that here. So there really wasn't an opportunity for me to skate enough. And by the time that I got on skates and started to become relatively proficient with skating, I was like 14 years of age. Well, by then, if you're headed for the NHL, everybody already knows it's out of the bag. So there really wasn't much of an opportunity for me when it came to hockey. But the street hockey was always there. And so I enjoyed playing. I always kept track of my stats. That was the thing. I loved playing it in middle school. They had a floor hockey club, and I was part of that. Every Friday, we would play for roughly 2 hours, about 2 hours. I was usually bleeding when I left because of the way I played. Very reckless. It's funny because I look at the games that we have now, and like the street hockey games we play now that I have the meetups for, and I, even while I'm playing, I'm like, man, 18-year-old me would be knocking me down and stealing everything and just playing so, I don't know if vicious is the right word, but determined is the way I'd put it. I don't have that now because it's a more casual game, and I'm not, I don't care about the whole winning and losing part of it. I just enjoy playing. Once you get near 50, you're glad to still be outside and enjoying the surroundings and playing a sport that you love. In terms of the whole argument, and I've seen this, I saw this under the most recent meetup we did, the argument of, well, that's not really hockey. That's not the point. When I see a couple of kids playing basketball in the neighborhood, I don't tell them, hey, you're not really playing basketball. Somebody's out, whacking around a baseball in a field, and it's just 3 or 4 guys. I don't yell at them, hey, you're not playing baseball. That's not really baseball. It's an odd argument. It's like the argument about the rollerblades. And for me, whenever I played street hockey with friends of mine, there was never, like, rollerblades didn't really become a thing, and like not commonly until later anyway, so it wasn't really an option for us. And yeah, we didn't really, we didn't do it. We were like, well, it's it's sort of like in the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy, where his favorite thing to do is to trip rollerbladers. That was kind of where I was at that point in time as well. Now, rollerblades have become really far more prominent and prevalent, and they're an excellent way for hockey players to get a very similar experience to what they're going to get on the ice. And I mean, yeah, they're fun and everything. It makes it faster. But for me, when I'm having meetups, I think back to when I was a kid. And one of the most enjoyable things for me to do, whether it was soccer, whether it was it was street hockey was that I would very often play with kids that were younger than I was and teach them, teach them a couple of things. My favorite, and defense. It was always defense that I would teach. I would say, okay, now you've got to keep yourself between the opposing player and the net. Try not to block the goaltender. Make sure that you're in a spot where you're making it tough for him, but you're not making it tough for your own goaltender that he has to look around you. And it was enjoyable, whether again it was soccer or it was hockey. I never had the hand-eye coordination for softball / baseball. Just wasn't there. Basketball, I'm 5'4", so that was a no. Although a game of 21 I was pretty good at, because I was pretty good at hitting the hit the backboard and make sure that ball just flew. So yeah, I might not get points, but neither did the person I was playing against, which was frustrating for people that were much better at basketball than I was. And yet a half an hour into a game of 21, the score was like 8-5, and they'd be like, you know what, let's just forget it and do something else. So there was that. But when I have these, I really see them as being set up for the guys who didn't play Bantam, didn't play Junior A, didn't play Junior B, to be set up for. Now, there are guys who show up that I know play real hockey, and by real hockey I mean the ice hockey, the stuff that we watch on TV. But I always gear it towards making sure that if somebody is not as physically gifted as those athletes, they can come out and play. They can come out and have some fun. And I see it as being a throwback to what I did when I was a kid. You only get one go around, and an aunt of mine passed away this week. One of my best friends that I worked with 20 years ago, he passed away last month, and I did a video on the Entertainment Guy about a guy I worked with passing away months before that. And the older you get, the more you realize, like, life really is, it's a journey, and it's a marathon, but it feels like a sprint as you get older. You wake up and you go, wow, it's Friday already. It's Monday again. What's going on? It feels like these weeks are just flying by. These months are flying by. And that is something that, of course, it makes you look back at your past and think, I really wish I had enjoyed those times more than I did. I really wish I had taken my time. And you kind of kick yourself for that. So you younger people watching this, it's not just something that old people say for the sake of saying it. It's a real thing. The idea that youth is wasted on the young, for lack of a better term. But we are very near the end of meetup season. I may try to have another one before the season gets going. I would expect the same comments about how none of us are going to put Connor McDavid out of work. Well, no, obviously not. But the difference between when I played in middle school and now is everybody's got a job. So one thing for me when I was playing in middle school, and I'd come out bleeding and, I'd be all banged up and bruised up, that was Friday. So Saturday I could just sit around, watch cartoons, rest, relax, maybe phone a friend of mine. We used to actually call people on the phone. You'd actually have to know a phone number, and you'd actually have to call it and wait until they answered. And if they didn't answer, you had no idea where there was. There was no such thing as "where are you" on Facebook. Not a thing. So I may call a friend and say, yeah, so I'm really banged up today, but maybe tomorrow we can go out and play some street hockey. During the fall and into the winter, it was not out of character for me to play 3-4 times a week. And then if there wasn't a game, if friends of mine weren't available, or whatever was going on, because a lot of them had like things like scouts and ventures and things like that. I never really got into any of that. I was never really into the whole club thing. So there was a plaza at the end of the trailer park I lived in. Yep, grew up in a trailer park. Really can't get much more down-to-earth Canadian than that. But I would just take a hockey ball and just bang it against that wall over and over for hours. I would just work on my shot for hours because my shot sucked. It was awful. It was terrible. And all that practice, it would get better to the point where it was pretty mediocre. And I was happy. I'd be like, hey, my shot's mediocre. I can handle that. So my shot has gone back to being kind of bad. I'm kind kind of ticked at myself, but I don't have a plaza near my place that I could just go and shoot a ball up against. There was one comment, too, that I saw under the most recent meetup video, which was along the lines of using a tennis ball. I will say this, using the ones that we use are actually ones that I bought through Amazon that are officially licensed NHL. As the air gets warmer, the ball actually softens up a little bit. And so I do find that actually works pretty well personally for me. And of course, then you have, I think it helps with the risk of injury when the ball is a little bit softer. Now, the street hockey balls that are basically like little rocks you're firing around, those ones are pretty good for the shots, but I do find that those are more likely to cause bruises, welts, and further injuries. Bruises and welts you can get over, but there are certain injuries that can happen. There are injuries that have happened when I've had meetups. So that's something I've always got at the front of my mind too. Like, I could take a slap shot here, but I don't know where that ball's going to go if I take a slap shot. There's a reason that slap shots in the NHL are far more rare now than they used to be. They're not that reliable. A wrist shot, snapshot, a better chance of it going in the net. And it is definitely something that I keep in mind when I'm playing with subscribers. I'm playing with people that watch this channel. And so, I mean, if I hit somebody in the eye with a ball, have a black eye or worse, end up needing to go to the hospital, I don't know how good that's going to look either. That's not a great thing. And why? Then there's the why issue of what for. And I think this is what maybe for some viewers, when I do those videos, they don't understand. Like, we're just playing a casual game. Usually, a lot of the conversations are about TV shows, come up a lot. We talk about hockey, obviously, but then the conversation will turn to, so where are we going to go for food after? And if it's a smaller, manageable group, then we go out for food, and we go out and have something to eat after. So it becomes more of an evening thing. There have been times that we start a meetup at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by the time dinner's done, it might be 9:30 at night. So it becomes not an all-day thing, but it takes up a lot of time. So it is, to me, a continuation of what I started when I was a kid. It's important to me to stay physically active. I take pride in that. That's why I do 5 miles on a treadmill every day. I do occasionally take days off, because if you don't, then you're going to pull a muscle at best, and other issues can happen at worst. It may not just be pulled. You may not be walking around much for a while. So I don't overdo it, but it is a matter of me trying to stay healthy and active as I get higher up in my age. But you don't feel like you're that old either. Like, I don't look in the mirror and think, well, yeah, I look like I feel. I look in the mirror and go, who the hell's the old guy? Because to me, I'm still the same guy I was 30 years ago. I'm not. But, and there are times where when I'm playing a game, I'm like, oh, I would have made that check. 15-year-old me is so choked right now that I missed that check. And 16-year-old me would have just dropped that guy. But, yeah, things change. Things change. It is one of those things. But I really do enjoy what the channel has provided me in terms of creating this community. And I feel like now, instead of playing on a hill behind my trailer, playing in the front yard, reminds me of a funny incident where the landlord told us to stop playing out in the hill behind my trailer, and then we were playing in the street. I think we were playing street hockey, and then he came down and yelled at us again. And my neighbor came out and said, they can't play behind the house, they can't play in front of the house. Where the hell do you want them to play? On the roof? And then the landlord took off, and he looks at us and goes, yeah, you guys can keep playing. That was a good moment, and it's one of those things that lives on for me. When I initially started this channel too, part of it was that I had watched my father's passing go without much notice. And he wasn't very old, and I remember thinking, he never had any social media, he never had Facebook, he never had any of that. And when he passed, I thought, there's no record of him really. He'll fade. And I thought, that's a shame. And so part of the reason why I have a YouTube channel and I do videos is because I thought I don't want to disappear. I don't want to be forgotten. I don't want to go through that. Or well, go through, that's the wrong terminology. I didn't think that it would be, it'd just be sad if you're just forgotten. So I do my best to make sure that, part of the reason I do some of the career videos I do on obscure players is because I feel like their careers have been forgotten. I'm like, this kind of sucks. This was a really good player. This was a guy I really like. So I'm going to do a career video, and I'm going to dig through all my old annuals and all my old yearbooks and, you know, dig up whatever minutia I can on the player and talk about it, because these are things that do kind of fade. And I think that's kind of sad. So trying to put a happy face on it and just trying to do my best to bring all that information to all you fine people, while being able to make sure that the rabbits are well taken care of. This is what rabbits do. This is it. So we've got one here. That's Pickle, and then the other 5 are all just in the house. It's a beautiful day out, and they're all just inside. Most of them having a nap. It looks like 2 of them are having a bath. That's what rabbits do. That's it. That's it. So if you've watched us with rabbits and thought, well, I wonder how much work they are. It's not much, but they do chew all your cords. They do. Not all rabbits will do it, but watch your cords around a rabbit. Free range is tricky. It is tricky. So they're kind of semi-free range in the house, not completely. But anyways, yeah, so enough from me for today. This, of course, is one of those jerseys I got, which has my name on the back. I've explained the whole reason why this one would have an A and the other ones have a C. In other videos where I've talked about my childhood. But these jerseys, too, I got kind of for myself for when I was a lot younger. For something that I never thought I would have. And definitely this channel qualifies, too. So for people who want to mock the street hockey games that we have, the meetups we have, and all that fun stuff, I also see it as a way for somebody to look up a video and go, look, that's me out there playing. And then for the next time I have one of those meetups, to say, you know, it'd be great to be at one of those, and see, you know, when Yvonne records it, maybe I'll be in the video, maybe I'll get a goal, maybe I'll get an assist. I had a goal right after she stopped recording last week, so that happens a lot. And it just makes it feel like, sure he did. Sure he had a goal. Sure he did. Yeah, right? Isn't that weird how it's never when it's being recorded? Yeah, yeah, and I talk about it. Talk about it every time it happens. So, and for people who've been there, they'll say that. But, of course, then the counterbalance would be, we probably just paid him off. Fair, I guess. There you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot as the summer months have wound down. It's just nice out here now. We're at that point where it's around 20 degrees Celsius, about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's basically the temperature here every day for a while now. That's fine. Gets a little warmer, gets a little cooler here and there, but it's kind of fine. So, not too bad. And don't need a heater, and you don't need air conditioning. It is a really nice medium that I wish we had for longer. We used to. But anyways, that's a whole discussion for another time. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot. I just wanted to do a video outside. I wanted to do one of these casual videos and talk to all you fine people about my journey, because it does get talked about a lot. So no, I didn't play for local teams. I didn't play all this, you know, competitive hockey growing up. I watched hockey as much as I could, and I played street hockey every damn time I had the chance. It didn't matter what time of year it was, I would play. During the summer, it was soccer, generally, because that's what everybody else was playing. So I'd play a bunch of soccer. I wasn't bad at it. And again, it was practice. It was just practice. I had no problem with all the practice. So I guess if I want my shot to come back, I need some more practicing. I'm going to have to find a place to practice around here. So anyways, there you go. And when that takes place, who knows, maybe I'll put something up on Facebook and we'll see what happens from there. But thank you guys so much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe if you're a hockey fan like I am and you just enjoy talking about hockey. Because I do enjoy talking about hockey. And there's just something that feels very Canadian about holding a hockey stick. It just changes everything. And then when I learned how to skate, I remember the first time that I went out and I went on a stick and puck kind of night, and I was out there skating with a hockey stick, and I was like, okay, all right, now I get it. It is so much easier to learn to skate with a hockey stick. It helps your balance so much. So just as an extra added little thing here, if you're learning how to skate, get a hockey stick. Make sure you're allowed. You may not be allowed. Depends on the rink. Depends on the time. Depends on what they're doing. But yeah, it's the easiest way to learn to skate is carrying a hockey stick. It just makes everything easier. For me, anyways, it fixed my posture, it fixed my stride, and also I was like, yeah, all right, I can do this. All right, let's get it on. Where's the puck? So, yeah, that happens. The funniest thing was the one time that I did play, and it was just a little like kind of scrimmage game on the ice, and I scored a goal, and the guy I was on the ice with was like, "Wow, you can shoot," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not that different from floor hockey. It's different, but I still, if it's on my stick, I know how to put that in the net. That part kind of stays. It's not the same. I'm not saying a rubber puck is the same. It's not, but it still worked. I was still able to get a goal. Anyways, there you go. Not that anybody recorded it, so it never happened. Thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.